time because West Virginia's been carrying that pail for years now.
All right, so Joseph Hoyt, Dallas Morning News, spoke to Sonny Dykes or asked him a question about some of the stuff swirling about Texas Tech. And Armstrong, if you wouldn't mind putting up the quote from Sonny Dykes from earlier today. So Joseph asked Sonny Dykes, the former, because dad was a coach at Texas Tech, we know that, and his response, or specifically he's been contacted by them or if he's shown any interest in the Tech job. Here's Sonny Dykes. Look, we're focused on getting ready for Houston. I'm not ever going to talk about other jobs. I just don't think it's fair to anybody. Look, our guys are excited to play. We're focused to play. We know how big of a game this is to our program or for our program, and no one's worried about anything other than playing well on Saturday night. Now, one of these days, we might get a coach when they're asked that question, and that's Joseph's job to ask that question, like yesterday to bring up with Dave Aranda, who I thought handled it well, and 50% said that's great, and 50% said, well, that sounds like something else. We have to ask those questions, and Sonny Dykes knows that, as does anyone else who's involved. And, you know, what's he going to say? You know what? I hope Texas Tech calls me back. We talked for 4 hours on the phone last night, and I can't wait to get to Lubbock. He's not going to say that, but you have to ask the question. And sometimes you just have to kind of whether or not you believe the coach or not. And a lot of times that's tough because their agents could be the ones talking, not them.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of strange because you have to ask the question, but you also know for a fact you're not going to get any answer unless you're asking Mike Tomlin. So, yeah, I mean, what else is he going to say? Like you said, he's said all he can really say. He's not going to admit to anything, especially in the midst of they're unbeaten right now. Yeah. I mean, he's not going to be talking about any other jobs. Even if they were over, he wouldn't be talking about any other jobs. So, yeah, I mean, I understand why the questions are being asked. I also understand why they're not going to be answered. And so it really changes nothing at all. He's going to remain in the rumor mill until Texas Tech hires a head coach, whether that's him or it's Jeff Traylor or it's someone else that we're not even thinking of. But, Sonny Dykes is certainly a great candidate, and wouldn't surprise me at all to see Tech pursue him along with Traylor and whoever else. But, yeah, I mean, what are you going to say?
Yeah, well, I think it'll be a really interesting day when a coach in Game 8, when a job is open, be like, you know what? I would want to go to LSU. That's a damn good job.
And the thing is,
it's not going to happen.
Their two top candidates are both unbeaten right now. You know, they're both in the midst of like historical runs. You know, especially Traylor at UTSA. So, yeah, I mean, I think the probably one of the top things on their minds, whether they would ever admit it or not, and they certainly wouldn't admit it publicly, is probably whatever's going on behind the scenes with their agent who's handling Sonny Dykes hasn't talked to anybody because his agent's been the one talking to anybody. You know, that's how it works. But at the same time, I'm sure, you know, they're hoping that they can push that off for as long as possible and just keep the good times rolling in San Antonio and Dallas, because this is the kind of thing that can distract you and, you know, maybe cause you to slip up one weekend. So we'll see how they handle it.
And don't ever put it past an agent, and they're doing their job representing whoever their client might be, to float something out in the media.
Sure.
That's, for example, Chad Morris turned down the job at Baylor when he was never offered the job at Baylor. Chad Morris never said that. But he hadn't been offered the job, and guess what? He got a bump at SMU, and now, of course, he's the head coach at Allen High School.
Was Justin Fuente ever offered?
I don't know that. I don't know the true story about that.
Yeah, I don't know the true story either. But, yeah, he's now on the hot seat in Blacksburg in a big way. But, yeah, I mean, I remember Justin Fuente commenting before was that the rule? Or that was a Aranda hire, I guess, right? It would have been the Aranda hire? Yeah, I think yeah. So, yeah, I remember when Justin Fuente publicly commented, and I didn't even know that he was really in the mix, but it was like, oh, okay, well, he apparently was. And he shot that down publicly. But, yeah, it's very rare to kind of hear that.
I'd just like everybody to know that I am not interested in taking a Sirius XM job right now. Okay. I don't care how much money they throw at me. I'm very loyal.
Oh, there's Cole calling you to raise your pay, yeah.
Craig brought up Mike Tomlin today. He was asked about the mix of coaching jobs at LSU, and he said, hey, guys, I don't have time for that speculation. I mean, that's a joke to me. I got one of the best jobs in all of professional sports. Why would I have any interest in coaching college football? That will be the last time I address it, not only today but moving forward. Never say never, but never, okay? Anybody else got questions about college jobs? There's not a booster with a big enough blank check.
All right.
Yeah, and then he got up and he walked off. And
anyone asking Sean Payton or Andy Reid? Yeah,
he was pissed. He was pissed about the question, legitimately, and I think that was the last thing that he did because he got up right afterwards and walked away, and he seemed to be, I don't know, like upset, but he was annoyed by the question itself.